Actually, I'm going to have to
Okay.
unsteam myself because winter's coming and temperature's dropping.
Yeah.
Every time I put my headset on, I get steam. Okay, MetaConnect.
So this task I gave it
Yeah.
was like, I want you to go to this file, just gave it a link, and in the machine check section, blah, blah, remove the images key, create a pull request, PR, the message, point to the relevant FlyIO docs that prove that this key in the config is optional, not required. You have access to the GH tool, which has my credentials, so use it freely. It wandered through, unaided, pulled down the repository, checked it out, found the changes, looked up the docs, made the alterations, made the commit, created the pull request. This was what it said, and now the pull request got merged. Thanks. And, that's a long task. Well, like
It's a long task. Can you just step back? Because you walked through that quite quickly. Because this looks really quite interesting. So I want you to go into this file, specific JSON, and in the machine check section pasted below. What was the pasted below?
It was a section of this file. It was there. I grabbed that and I copied it, and I was like, there.
Look for images pasted below. Remove them. Okay, so it's a fairly simple. There's not much cognition required there, but
except for the number of hops it's the number of steps and the number of different tools that you got to go through to do it.
That's quite interesting because you're not asking it to do some heavy cognitive load. You're just asking it to stay on task, stay focused.
Long task, yeah, long horizon.
Yeah.
Across many tools, some of which it may not be that familiar with. Some of them have credential-based stuff. Like it had to fork the repo, make the change. Like it had a lot of tasks to do.
Yeah, but
to make that all happen.
That's interesting because what were we using 5 for that?
I don't use anything else but 5 codecs.
Yeah,
it is the greatest. It is the greatest. It is the greatest model I have ever laid eyes on. This thing is amazing.
So that's because of this planning tool, isn't it?
No, it's also incredibly fast. It's its planning tool, but it's also the model itself. 5 is very, very task focused. And 5 codecs is outstanding at running long tasks. Like it just plods along. It's like dum da dum da dum da dum. And
that's interesting because if it hallucinated at any point,
you'd fly off the rails, right?
Yeah, and magnify.
Yeah.
At each step.
But see, like, it's very, very quick. Like I can say, what does LDAP stand for? Because they chucked a pile of GPUs at it, right? And now that's on high reasoning, and that's how long it took to come back. It's nothing.
Yeah.
And it does these jobs like really well, man. Like really, really well.
I'm impressed mostly by it maintaining focus.
It's been doing it. I've been giving it deeper and deeper tasks. Like I started giving it jobs where it has to generate some code, run some tests on the code, build the Docker image that holds the code, deploy it to Fly.io's infrastructure, log in using SSH to the running infrastructure machine to check that it's okay, use a web page browsing tool to make a web request to check that the response comes back out, use the log checking tool from Fly to check the logs from the infrastructure and basically debug the problems that I'm facing. And some of them are fucking long problems, right? Like, I am up and running with an NFS application. This thing here serves NFS. And the amount of, like, you look at this config file, like, this would have taken me, this is a very narrowed version of it.
Mm.
The base version didn't work, and so 5 expanded it out to add all kinds of debugging and checks and all that in it, so that it could cause logs to be generated, so it could repeatedly trace down the problem that it was seeing, so that it could ultimately patch it and then clear it all up and shrink it down to be minimal again. And then I came in and asked a few questions about, what's at NLM and why is it at 4, to get it to write comments based on web searches, so that I know why that line's there and what happens if I don't have it. And then I got it to, there were more settings here. I was like, go through, remove each setting one at a time and see if the whole setup deploys and works in Fly correctly. And so it just methodically went through eliminating one at a time, and it's like, no, these are the ones you must have. This is what happens if you don't have it. All that.
And of course, that a quite detailed chain that you give the prompt could be generated as well from intent.
It wasn't even a detailed prompt. Like, I'm explaining to you kind of what it did more than, like, I was like, I need this thing to work, sort of thing. Like, it was a very, very brief prompt. But the trick seems to be, if you can get it to be in full control of the loop, so that it can verify that things have worked. So, like, let it log into the remote infrastructure. It will figure out how to generate logs. It will read the manuals on how to use Fly.io. You gotta give it you just gotta get it closed, a closed loop, where you're not just make a Docker file. You're like, make a Docker file, deploy it to Fly, check the web page loads, then get back to me.
And that was that's indicative of the prompt that you gave.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, the prompts are very light. The trick is giving it a way to loop. If you can give it a way to loop, it seems like it doesn't matter one hoot how complicated that is. All that matters is that it's doable using terminal. And even then, it can still figure it out. Like, it knows about tools that I don't, and it knows about tools that aren't installed, and then it, like, uses the Linux package manager to install those tools, so that it can go and do this other thing that it wants to do to verify something. It's really about just opening up everything to it to say, well, go for your life.
That was pretty impressive.
And so I don't have to do the copy paste. It's now interacting with the infrastructure, probing it, checking it, deploying it, getting logs, changing log, making new deploys. Like, it's fascinating.
That is quite impressive.
Anyway, so what I've got is I got NFS working to the point where, well, I hope it works. I left it running, doing exactly what I just described, and then I left the building, so I've just come back now, and hopefully it works. Oh dear, that did not work. Right, so here we go. This, if I look at my mounts, that is an NFS mount.
It is.
And that NFS mount, like you can do some crazy shit, right? So if I go benchmark the performance of the disk underneath by writing to the current working directory. Okay. Oh, this isn't Codex. This is because Codex doesn't have API access, so it's still just yeah, it's not quite the thing. I mean, 5's still pretty good, but anyway, it should just sort of whir around and start figuring out how to do stuff, right? So the model I've got going now, I believe that I can blockchain the NFS server if I. So currently the NFS server sits on a remote computer, but I mean it's still a Fly.io infrastructure machine, but the machines load up here and then they connect with an NFS connection out to the server, and then the way that can be made to be redundant or resilient is we'll actually run the NFS server on the client, and then we use the Git-based consensus mechanism to provide the files to it. So it means that the machine, the agent that's running, feels like it's using a genuine file system. All the Linux tools work, everything works, but actually it's thinks it's connected by NFS, but it's really connecting to itself, and then there's a virtualization happening where it acts like the repo is, all the files are checked out on disk, but really it's pulling them in from Git and it's subjected to consensus and all that, because providing an NFS service that has resilience or failover is a massive pain. But providing a single NFS server that then uses what we learned about how to keep Git repos in sync, that's significantly easier.
Makes sense. That's very cool.
Yeah, so what do we got here? So it reckons 17 megs a second, or reading 195 megs a second.
Not too bad.
Yeah. Over NFS.
Yeah.
So that's all good. The issue that I think that's a good model under the hood, because it means that we can start with just a nothing fancy NFS server and test out all the mechanics and the usability and all that without investing in building the Git-backed version.
Yep.
So the way I was going to do it is to make it that each user, the user comes in and they get assigned a computer. In this model, a computer is just a folder sitting on the NFS server that only you have access to. And I was just going to use the NFS sharing permissions to give you access. Like, I was going to make each user be, the user ID is just mapped to a Linux user ID, and then we just use the file system permissions to say who's allowed to see which folder. In the folder, there's like the top level like config information about stuff like what is the hierarchy of agents right now, like what are the names of all the agents, how do they relate, who's a parent, who's a child, what state does each agent have, so like the config files and the little sort of working directory for the config of the agent. And then separately there's a bunch of folders that represent the Git repos, and things like each agent's workspace, which is to say the folder that you would expect them to do all of their mutations within. So while we give them access to modify the machine they're on, even though that modification gets reset every time the machine gets rebooted, they can modify anything they like, but we'd expect them to do their business logic work within the workspace directory, which is on the NFS server. And one of the quirks of that was that I used to think we could have multiple agents working on the same mutable state in a directory, but I actually think that that's a mistake to do that. And I wanted to chat with you that you couldn't think of some reasons why that is of good utility, where the alternate path I offer you is to say that each agent, when they work, should be in the equivalent of their own branch, so that they can work in isolation and then commit and maybe have to do a merge or something to get back to the main branch. Because if you don't do that, then it becomes unrecoverable or difficult to recover, because the commit is supposed to be the return time objective or the return point objective. Like if you crash during the time since the last commit, I can't recover you back there because you didn't finish what you were doing. You didn't write some stuff down. And it's
I mean,
I
you're essentially describing Git there. The only use case would be a Google Docs style, live collaboration.
right, but would you expect that to be taking place on the file system? Like I'm just...
No, actually, you wouldn't.
Because you need to be, if you're having a Google Docs collaboration, the doc still needs to be committed periodically. The way that Google Doc collaboration works is they don't strictly store the file as a file and then store people's patches. They store a stream of operations, which is what did each person do. And then the doc is what you get when you replay that. So what you would be doing in effect is committing each set of changes. One particular agent would be committing the changes, and then the other participants would be interacting with the agent using, they could be using Git where they're altering another file system, and this agent is getting triggered when they write their operation down. Or they could be using TCP or web connections to interact with that agent, just like you would during a video call or something like that. And then the agent is doing the committing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I like the whole buffer save commit cycle.
Okay, so there's nothing offensive to you about
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, so one agent, so you got one agent in one container, or one Coco once we get them confidential, and also one agent, one branch, where they don't necessarily have created a named branch, but the working directory is not shared, if you want them to interact based on files, they need to commit, merge, pull, do all
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah, yeah,
Because otherwise it gets like a kind of sloppy where you get the same problem that I was having before. I'm like, well, where's the limit? How many concurrent agents are you going to permit? When are you going to commit? How can I
yeah.
back you up?
There's
You know,
also there seems to be a not quite fundamental, but there seems to be a significant difference when you're working on a Google Doc. What you're really doing is sending keystrokes over, whereas if we've got agents that can alter things quite significantly, quite quickly, um, it feels like it's a
right,
use
yeah, like
case.
the utility is actually not because of the bandwidth of these agents, right? It's like it
Yeah,
doesn't really have the same value it used to be able to collaboratively edit. And particularly, like, why the fuck would, like, you'd really just confuse the agent because the agent can only see files as it
right.
read them. And if you've changed them out from under it, it's like, well, how can you expect it to have sane responses if the files are changing all the time?
Exactly, and it's never going to manage that. And so going to the merge piece is if people are working on the same file at the same time.
Because I find myself often when I work with Codex, I sit here and I have to wait for one job to finish before I kick off the other one because I don't want to deal with the git commit, the conflicts, and I don't want to mess up the model that an agent has in its mind of the state of the files because I'm like, that can't be good. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so yes, you can queue up jobs, but you also want this other thing where it's a whole different job. You don't want the thread polluted. You want to start a brand new job, but you want to not collide with this other thing. And then that leads to a simple type of working model where you may have multiple independent agents that have been fired up and are ready to go, but you need some sort of queue coordination between them where you say, wait, you wait for this guy, you wait for this guy, you can get started as soon as you like. And so you end up with the concept of a queue manager, where the queue manager would receive all the jobs coming in from it doesn't matter where. It could be other agents that are doing research work or browsing work and lobbing in jobs into this pool,
yeah,
and then the workflow manager is arranging them in a sequence where it's like this can conflict with that, so that has to come after, that comes after, that goes before. And then it can also do things like dedupe or compact, where it's like that job, that job, that job, kind of the same, so they should be done together. This job has a bad description, so I'm going to use another agent to amplify the description of it. But I'm going to wait until these other 5 jobs have cleared, so I've got the latest view of the state of play. Um, there's a component in there that's like it's kind of like a router or a queue curator. Uh,
yeah, yeah. And it's not FIFO. It has to decide. Okay, so you're making a change to this. Yeah. Okay, that's not going to conflict with those. Maybe we can do those in parallel. That's fine.
yeah, yeah,
But both need to be completed before the next job kicks off because it's
yeah.
going to read in the state.
That's right. And then it should also be doing like, oh, this job's been taking 20 minutes. It didn't sound like a 20-minute job. Let's check in on that. Or this job completed, it's got so many conflicts with the current branch that it's easier for me to start the job again.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the thing that is prompted with the moves to make. It's like you're trying to have this one branch that represents the current best state of the knowledge base slash application slash whatever you're doing. And this project manager is there taking in all the incoming, arranging it, sequencing it, dealing. It's basically the project manager bot with a few extra prompts and extra agents like the read the news, check the latest thing,
Yeah.
process the user feedback. The project manager is the one that sort of slots in all the jobs and
Yeah, and
tries,
sequences them.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. But that model works for big loads. Like if you had say a translation pipeline and you had a lot of stuff coming in, the project manager is the one that sort of splits the pipelines to be in parallel or sequence. It's the one that can call on external help, like humans to help, or it's, if it's taking too long, it's the one that gives estimates of completion time. It's all those kinds of things, like basic project management.
Yeah. 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 That works.
Okay, so I'll make it. So I was gonna make it. You come in, you get one folder for every user, and then inside the user folder is what I did a bunch of work on to manage the processes. So like that's what that was like. I was calling the fiber tree, like the process tree, where each process has a little bit of state. It's got a little bit of you know all the stuff you need to run the agent and recover the agent is stored in that folder, that special process
Yep.
or
Yep.
the agent tree.
Yep.
And there's only one of those per computer. That's the active computations that are happening.
Yeah.
And then that makes the agents themselves become these kind of disposable containers, because the identity isn't stored in the container, it's stored in the process manager tree, the proc tree.
Yep.
And it means that you can recover the computer. If you just have the proc tree, you can fully recover the state of computation that was taking place.
Yeah, which gives you persistence. I was talking about. Yeah.
And you can reach consensus over the outcome of those processes by running them again in different locations and agreeing on the result.
Yeah.
So that's that folder. That's the process tree folder. Then there's the each agent has its working folder, which is where it has repos checked out, where it has well, that's basically it, really. That's where, because if we say that all knowledge has to be come from within a Git repo, then the workspace represents one or more Git repos that have been checked out for the agent. Oh, sorry. The workspace represents 0 or more Git repos that have been checked out based on the config of the job.
Right. Yeah. So that's the context. The topic that you're working on is that Git repo. You might not have a context.
Sorry, what do you mean? Might not have the context?
Zero repos. So you said 0 or more repos.
Yep, 0 or more repos. So if you had no repo, then the agent's just been started up. It might be about to do a computation. It might get asked to, because the interagent communication comes in from that proc tree. So it might receive messages from the nap to nap communication channel. Might be that, hey, I just want this agent to start up and I'm just going to talk to it and then it's going to give me responses. It doesn't need any files or anything to do with it. That's a case where you've got 0 repos.
Yeah. Yeah.
It gets a lot simpler then, this model, if we put that rule in that says that each agent is, the workspace is dedicated to the agent. You never share the workspace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you wanna share the data within the workspace, you must use Git. And in terms of
Yes.
latency or speed, we can first of all, that's the area where I know how to use all the stuff we did with Artifact to make that just like blisteringly fast. But even in the initial iteration, it's really not that slow anyway. Like Git can run pretty quickly.
Yeah, but you're also always, by definition, working with a single source of truth for that agent.
Yeah, that's right. The file system is the single source of truth. And so we'll do things like harden the Git repo, because the key is the NFS server providing that hardened, fault tolerant single source of truth. Like it's like, this is the guaranteed state of the file system. You, the agent, can come in and do anything you like, but here's what the commit was, and that's infallible. Like that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, this
And
is sounding
so
pretty good.
if you get dropped off the net, for whatever reason,
Yeah.
okay, you're gonna fall back to the last commit. So in the war zone, you're working away, you've got your current session. You get taken off grid. That's not going to mess up anything else that is also looking at the single source of truth.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty tolerant.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. And then, so that's the mutable place where the agent may make file system changes. Nap-to-nap comms is coming in via the proc tree. So NFS turns out gives us some really neat simple stuff like triggers. So like watching for when a file changes is very efficient in NFS, whereas in Artifact I made this whole thing to deal with that. But with NFS, it's just a file system watch using the, like it's embarrassing how easy it is working at this level. Like
That's interesting. So you could even have a simple file with a toggle on it, and it watches for the change of that.
That's right. Commits become easy. It just watches for the change of the latest head pointer, triggers on that.
Yeah.
Any file changing triggers on that. It's just, shit is just fucking easy. It's so easy. It's embarrassingly easy. Like it makes me feel empty how easy it is.
Okay. Small is good.
Yeah, I know. And then, so nap-to-nap communication comes through the proc tree file system. The workspace handles file systems per agent. A computer is a collection of Git repos, workspaces, and agents, I suppose. So the computer has this. The computer has the proc tree, and the computer has the repos, and the computer has the folders that represent the workspaces for the agents. And that's that. And so we'll start with one user per computer, and then we'll also enable users to make extra computers. So like that would be an example of an org computer, where it's not controlled by your user ID. It's controlled by something generated that is subservient to a user control, or any computer can control these other computers based on permissions, but it's not a user that comes into it.
Can more than one computer interact with a subservient computer? If you want.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. How does the communication work between computers? I'm not entirely sure, but it feels like it should be a file system thing. Like the computers would set up or agree to have a slice of the, let's call it, global file system that they both can access. So a mutually shared folder, which would be in Linux, I think you'd just call that a group, where it would start off as just a group of two people and you can pass messages back and forth, but there's no reason why it can't be expanded out to arbitrarily many people. It's just a slice in the file system that's able to be accessed by more than one person, and there's some rules around how you write to it, because it's not, it in itself is not a Git repo, but it needs to be driven by Git repos. So the Git repo that each individual computer is running would have a section in it that represented that folder, and then in the background we'd keep copying out the bits that the Git repo made, and then offering them out to the shared group along with proof of how it came to be based on the Git lineage.
Would the given your earlier explanation of the project manager stroke sequencer, would it be that the multiple computers dealing with a computer goes through a sequencer and the sequencer sorts that out?
No, because that's one layer below. Like that is using intelligence to get work done. This is just merely signaling back and forth. You would.
Okay. All right.
That's how I imagine this is going. But I think that's the way to do it. Like if you model the whole system as you think of it, like one massive NFS server, then you can blockchain the underlying thing that provides the NFS server. But all the other stuff, like Linux user IDs, you can have up to 4 billion of them in Linux. So that's half the planet. It's got some really good analogies in Linux land. And I don't know why it seems significantly easier in my mind to think of the whole space as one big ass file system, and then it's still just files and folders all the way down, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
And so if you didn't have permissions or confidentiality, you could just, walk around the whole system and just look at anything that's going on at any time.
Yeah, but the kind of RBACs on a 4 billion user computer would be quite important. So,
yeah, but I think that's a well-solved problem, because the permissions model is solved in Linux, and all we got to do is pick a flavor of the many solutions for that and roll with that, and it's done. It's like that's like, why reinvent that? It fits in perfectly here. It's just, and NFS even handles things like the permission based on the user ID. So I guess what I'm saying is that the model not only works, it's like we inherit a lot of stuff, well-known stuff, and all it comes down to is being able to provide the backing file system in a consensus-based war fabric-like way, and then provide confidential computing for the agents, as well as consensus on the computing outcome that happened. And then that's the complete system. And it's like we didn't have to invent all these extra things like an RBAC system or a trigger system to watch when a file changed or a commit changed.
Yeah, and it's got the virtue of not being surprising to anyone.
Yeah, it's an unsurprising thing. Like, it's kind of sad. You look at it and you're like, oh, they just took Git and NFS and containers, and then they made this very light messaging protocol, and a package format called agents, whatever we call it. And from this, they made a blockchain.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when you look at Bitcoin, it's like, well, you've got SHA-256. You've got this real simple programming language in there. And it's like, and you got digital signatures, public key signatures.
Yeah.
And a little script and the SHA-256 hashing function, and you kind of, everything else is just optimizations. Like, those are really the simple things. And now you got a $1 trillion market cap internet money thing.
It's good.
So
it feels
sorry?
comfortable, doesn't it? It feels comfortable, which is
it's comprehensible, eh? Like, you can kind of imagine how it goes, and there's the magic bits are constrained to bits that most people didn't understand anyway. Like, you're like, the magic is underneath the NFS server, and everyone's like, oh, I didn't really look there anyway.
NFS. Okay, quick Google. All right, so it's been around for years.
Yeah. So, and you're like, so I just use the NFS server. Yes. You use the Linux permission system. Yes. I just use Git. Yep. These things run in Docker containers. Yep. Okay. What else?
What else? You just basically we're expanding what's already been solved at a kind of virtual scale using agents, MCP. Very difficult to because this is a well-solved problem.
All of these things are well solved in isolation. Each one of these is very well solved.
Yeah, yeah. And so screwing them together is just a matter of assembly.
I know. Oh, and I got around the problem with worrying about having shell scripts and being all cobbledy. So that's good.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of feeling like a more of a real system.
Okay.
I've got Codex being able to test the deployment, so it can pretty much end to end deploy to fly, test in fly, problem solve in fly, and then come back and tell me, yeah, no, it's good to go. Like, it tested the deployments and ran them. So, the other thing I set up was you're gonna think this is broken, but it isn't.
Okay.
So this is the base URL that I chose just for this experiment. That comes in, and what's happened there is that it's redirected, but in actual fact, it landed on an SSL based page. But the thing is, it's wildcard. So I got a wildcard cert going on this page. So now you can come in with like anything. And so that's going to be, it's going to go like child the whole thing I showed you before, right? Child agent dash parent dash computer. And then when you do that, that's you talking to the agent.
Yeah. It's still going to one agent at the moment, though, because you've not got off.
Yes, at the moment, yes. But I am in the process of setting up auth and in the process of setting up multi-agent because I need to get that NFS file system bit up.
Yep.
But it feels like it's programming is weird now. Like, it's to do this job is like a lot of research, and then you're like, the prompt comes out at like, I don't know, a third of a page, and you're like, make this thing, do this thing, but choose this path, not that path, and read this doc and do this thing and do this thing, go. And then it's like 20 minutes later, there's the next component of the broader system. Like, there's the NFS server, and you're like, oh, well, that's that done. You know, like, that used to take a long time, man.
It used to take teams.
Right? It used to take actual teams, and now it's like, ta-da.
Yeah, and flights to Minsk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this. I'm sorry, I'm not being very combative here.
Well, fuck, I'm sorry I don't have more to sort of combat about. I'm like, it just seems...
It's a world operating system. It's like...
Cool. World NFS sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, the other restraint I was going to make is that no matter how many people come at it, you always get your own agent. So even when we have like the free try to talk you into signing up bit, every user that comes in will trigger a new agent to be created. Because I can't think of how that works in any other way. Like, if you try to allow multiple web pages to come in on the same agent, then you get that issue that you can overload it and you don't know when. And then if you try to use some of the, like, Fly tries to encourage you to make applications that are stateless and then have multiple versions of them. So that's how you handle your load. So you have like a stateful database. So you got one database, but then you've got, say, 5 web servers, and depending on which one's closer, it'll serve your request and query the database for you. But I don't think we can do it like that, because the agent the conversation you're having with the agent is stateful. And so you need to be stuck with it. And that's why I'm like, if we make one new agent.
No, that seems obvious.
Oh, does it? Okay, all right, great. Great, all right, fine. So the path would be, if I can try to walk you through how the sequence goes from, like, I just heard about this thing online to I'm now signed up with my own computer.
Yep.
So you'd first of all, you'd come into our homepage. We'll say that that's the landing page, agentic.dreamcatcher.land.
Yep.
When you land, at the moment, it's like, oh, you're not auth, you need to do the auth. So you go do the auth, you come back. Fine.
Yeah. If
you're not authed, you're going to land and you're going to get redirected to the, let's call it the sales computer. So that's the computer that you're going to get redirected to. And then that computer is going to redirect you to, first of all, the root agent is going to receive the request. So what I have learned is that there's a need for like a sort of like a gateway server. I'm not going to call it an agent yet, because there needs to be many of them. These are the things that take the load. Like, if 1 million people come to this site, no one agent can handle that. But if we have a component that was just, its pure job was to be the gateway or the front server, what it does is it gets the request, it looks at what's just come in, it then creates a new agent if it needs it, and then redirects you off to it.
Mm-hmm.
That service is what it's sort of coming down to. So there's like each computer has this fronting, these front web servers, and then they figure out what to do. Like, are they just going to deny you because they're like, I don't know, you mate, go away? Or if it's configured to be public, it's like, oh, you're not signed in, we don't recognize you, but here's this agent that we run for free, and the agent is like, locked down and it can only talk about certain things and whatever, but it's the thing that makes the new agent, but it's also the thing that stays online. Like, it's like, 10 different servers around the world are not going to all go offline simultaneously. So it means that because each agent is unique, when it crashes, something needs to recover it. And that's what that little cluster does. The little cluster kind of keeps the machine on and makes sure that the agents keep coming in. They're like the system process, or the system, the Reaper, the recovery thing. They're like the watchdog, and they deal with all those kinds of natural operational problems.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
So that's how I was planning to handle that.
Yeah.
And then if you come in and you sign up, then we'll store you for a bit. Like, the sales agent will store you until your computer's built. But I mean, the computer's like, now that it's just a file system, it's like, are we there yet? Like, it's just done. And then you come in and you hit your root agent. But the watchdog cluster makes sure that there always is a root agent, and does helpful things like tears it down when it's no longer being used, or stuff like that. And so that, I think that's the model, man.
I mean, that's just provisioning, isn't it? By another way.
Yeah, and so in this file system model, each of the workers, the agents themselves, the containers of the agents, can be sort of generic and just kept in warm standby. And then it would get a signal from I'm going to call it the process manager cluster. The process manager cluster goes like, oh, we need to start an agent. And it just reaches in the pool for any old machine that's sitting there ready to go and says, you are now machine 259, boot. And then that becomes that's the agent now. And when it's done, it just gets rebooted. Its file system is dropped. All the changes are dropped because that's how Fly works. And now it just goes back in the pool and sits there warm. If you don't use any agent for long enough, the pool gets shut down and destroyed because we don't need resources around if we're not using them. You turn up and you use it furiously, it will elastically create more machines, put them in the pool so that you always have a good time, like a good responsive, snappy time. But when you're done, it just shreds them all down, and the only cost to us is the NFS storage.
So that sounds like essentially optimization of coming in and getting something to happen quickly.
Yeah.
By having a pool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that yeah. And I think that works quite well.
Yeah, it does. What's the difference between creating and spinning up something that's on warm standby in terms of time?
Well, creation is maybe 10 seconds. Booting, depending on how many services and tools you had, because Codex needs quite a collection of things, booting can be around about the 3-second mark. But if you've got it sitting there hot and it's just been suspended, then turning on is about 100 milliseconds. So if you
All right. Okay.
if you're working and you've got a couple of machines and they're in suspense, like they've been suspended, then you just simply tell them, you're like, hey, here's your NFS credentials. This is the agent you need to become. Make it happen. They mount the workspace. They read the state of the agent's config file. Like it might be something that's where you get agent.toml, like the, here are your sys prompts, here are your MCP servers, here's some other files that help you out, da 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 da. Here's the workspace, here's the Git thing already checked out, ready to go. And here is your incoming message. Your instructions have landed, go. And then it's like doing all that is maybe 200 milliseconds, something like that.
Right. Okay. All right. So that's going to be much more responsive, obviously. Sounds complex to get running.
What sounds complex about it? Because I mean, like, yes, definitely, but that is the simplest I can think of. What is the part that seems complex that could be done with scrunching down somehow?
No, there's no scrunching down. It's a matter of priority, I guess. Wait time is not as much of a matter when you're dealing with.
Yeah, wait time is not like we need to be running first before we deal with wait time. The reason I bring that up now is because there are other ways to design the system. If each agent was somewhat related to the container that it's running in, then the wait times would be affected, but also like other areas become more complex too. So it's more like picking the design that is clean enough that keeps the uniqueness of the essential data in the right spot. And I think the right spot is that NFS file system. So it's all just the only difference between the agents is what folder on the NFS server they were allowed to access.
Yeah.
And that's right. And that's kind of all. And so that, because of that model, I can then, I'm trying to validate that model by laying out the more detailed cosmetic type things like boot time that model enables. Obviously building, but then again, like building that in from the start is actually no difference to building it at all, because a fly does a lot of that for me. The issue is if I take that process management cluster of machines, like have I been led astray by making a fly specific model, or does that model survive long term? And these are the things I really sort of wrestle with, and why it's not as simple as just like stand up any old prototype, because I know the prototype works. I just don't want to end up, every time I build something, it takes time, thinking time, delays to move it forwards. And if it's heading in the wrong direction, now we're even more delayed, or we're stuck on something that we want to get off of, but now data's been hitting it, and now people have grown accustomed to it, and it's like, oh god, now we're fucking and then so really I guess the model is can it Coco. And I think an NFS server that is backed by Git, I think it really comes down to these simple principles that seem so subtle and meaningless, like each agent has a dedicated workspace that only it can access. Like that's not, it's not obvious why that's important, But if you don't do that, you may have denied yourself Coco, or you may have denied yourself consensus on the
Mm.
NFS thing underneath. It's
Well, fundamentally, I'm absolutely in on the idea of an agent having its own area buffer.
right. Okay, its own
That
buffer. So
yeah,
in
that just it's just easy to understand.
great, great. In metaphor terms, would you think of that as its memory? Like it's is there a way
Um,
to word that or call that, describe that? Buffer's a good name, but that's overused.
yeah,
Workspace implies it might have other agents in it. Is there something?
it's a
Is it the
yeah,
agent desktop?
um, hmm, it's a good question. I like buffer just because
The agent buffer?
well, Emacs, right? Yeah,
Yeah, I
with my
know. You and your.
uh,
Yeah.
but
Okay, so
bit of
buffer
writing
like,
for
right? Like it's like this is the
yeah,
agent working memory.
it is. It's your
Why don't we go with psychological names, cuz in the model of the mind, working memory is the stuff you
yeah,
have on hand while you're executing a task.
right. It's your own RAM basically,
Yeah.
and it's like
Yeah.
unless you put it to disk, yeah, you lose power, you lose it.
Right. So the
Um,
working memory versus the permanent storage or the eternal storage, which is the get backed,
yep,
the get backed NFS model, and
yeah.
we
Now I wonder. Let's take a step back on the red team here. The reason I'm so keen on that is because it just makes you know inherent sense. But is that is that
no, it
because
is
we're
because that
used to?
what you're talking about falls exactly into the actor model of computation because the actor has its inbox and it has its internal state,
Right,
and so
right.
it's got this external, like the thing that we're adding with the Git repos is this kind of like an external state that's quite a critical component, but it doesn't have to be there for the actor model because it still just looks like messages. We treat it special just because convenience, really. You know, like it's convenient to think of Git as a separate component.
Yeah, but it's also on the human level. It's like you've got your own laptop, and you can do anything on that. You know, you
Right.
can take a copy of a file,
Yeah.
work on it, blah
Yeah.
blah
Yeah.
blah.
It's exactly that. And yet you don't often let a whole other person just come into your working folder.
Yes, exactly. And so it seems very comfortable because let's take the laptop server, you know, model.
Mm. Mm.
It's like, what I'll do on my laptop, I might fuck up. Fuck.
Yeah.
I have to redo that sort of thing. It's like, no, no, that's ready now to publish.
Right. Yeah, right. Okay. Well, thanks for that. I was like, maybe that's not what Smacks wants. Maybe that is, but actually, it works out way better for everything if we do. And you're like, that would be gold
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah,
Okay. Um, and then I think the NFS folder model covers every use case because even modeling disjoint systems, you can still think of them like users in a global NFS server that don't have permissions between each other and they broker some deals how to figure out how they're going to open up connections with each other, like share a folder, mutually share a folder, group share a folder.
or lock, check out, check in.
Yeah, yeah, right. Snapshot, rollback, all those
Yeah,
things. So it's really just like this big ass, like infinite file server.
it's interesting, isn't it? What we're describing here, or what you're describing, it feels a lot like how just one computer works. right?
Yeah.
You got your RAM, you got your SSD, you got your input, you got processes. Just feels like outdated
Yeah,
computer.
it is, right? But then, like, computers got overly complicated when you started getting multi core CPUs. Like, I remember the time when it was one CPU. Those were good
Yeah,
times. And
yeah,
then a dual CPU came, and next thing it was like 8 CPUs. Now it's like 192 CPUs.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
I
like,
know what you're saying.
that
Yeah,
is not quite feasible, right? And the reason I switched to JavaScript from, a bunch of other languages was the concurrency model, because you only are in one spot at one time. You're only executing in exactly one spot at one time at the exclusion of all else. And it was the exclusion of all else that I found liberating from my poor brain, trying to think of how these other threads might have progressed
yeah,
in the last clock cycles or so. And I'm like, I don't like this. They could be anywhere.
yeah. And it's someone else's problem to make what happens under the hood work.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And but the Node.js programming model does that very well.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so what now? Like, that sounds like a rap almost.
It does. I mean, what now is off? So
Yeah,
we're off of a
yeah.
single machine.
And like accessing views is still just the same port semantics. Like I go port 8100, and that'll give me whatever. Like
Yeah.
that's how you see the views on the thing.
Right. Right. But even then, what we were talking about last time with the views is let the agent sort that out. So I don't need to remember a port number
What do you mean?
because, um, well, if I'm typing something in like show me the weather, um,
Oh, it'll redirect you. It'll
right.
redirect you. You don't have to know the port number. It'll redirect
Exactly.
you to that. But this was all I could. The port number, I couldn't figure out a way around it, because the processes that you want to run on the agent are binding to a port on localhost. And so I can't, without cooperation with the process, like the port number is all encompassing. Like there is nothing you can't do with that. It's just a bit ugly.
Yeah, it may well be ugly. It's precise, but the point I'm making is I never want to remember a port. It's like, oh, right,
Mm,
where's that view again?
mm,
It was in 8173.
mm.
Um, I want the my agent to remember that. So
Okay.
actually take me to the weather that I was talking about.
Yeah, well, that should really be happening over here. Like you're chatting here, and then the weather's popping up as a state board, as another another web page,
Yeah,
where it's just driven you to the thing. You don't really care what the port is, and the only reason that you can see what the port is because that's how the browser's built. But if we were in a web app, like a progressively installed web app, even not doesn't have to be a desktop app, then the URL's gone, the bar's gone, and so you wouldn't see the port at all. You just see the contents changing right in front of you based on what the agent was showing you.
yeah, yeah.
So
Fundamentally, I just want to talk to the agent and say,
yeah,
hey, remember I was talking about weather. Can you bring that back up again, please?
yeah. Okay, well, look, mate, I think are there any features that we've not covered with this? Because I'm feeling like the NFS model, it's sort of all done.
Well, I'm quite impressed that we only talked about NFS 2 days ago, and here it is.
Here it is, buddy, deployed and tested, and I swear to heaven almighty that like I could not do that. Like the fixes, like, I was for fun watching it work, and the fixes it was even trying, let alone the fixes it applied, I was like, that's a good idea. Oh, that's genius. Oh, I never would have thought of that. Oh my god, I don't even know what Ganesha is, and it turns out it's this like highly successful project that's been running all this time. I'm like, my contribution is what does LDAP stand for again? Sorry. Like it's sort of feels like watching a beast with wild intelligence just work, but it's got no soul. Like it doesn't know what it's supposed to do. I know what it's supposed to do, but not how to do it. It knows everything there is about how to do it. It's just waiting on me to drive it.
Yeah, yeah.
I had another funny story where I was doing when I just figured out how to get it to actually launch the infrastructure, which was kind of, I guess, the breakthrough for me in the last couple of days. And I gave it back. I used to copy paste logs in, right? So I'd run it up on the infrastructure, be like, oh, here's these errors, what do I do to fix it?
Yeah.
Super stupid in hindsight, now that I know that it can just fucking do all that for itself. But I gave it some logs. I was like, dude, it doesn't work. And then it came back and it's like, these logs are from 1 minute 30 before the change I made deployed. Can you please refresh get me the new logs, basically? Which I thought was genius because, like, I didn't notice that there was a lag in the logs, for one. I thought I was looking at the live logs. And another human would not have checked the timestamps and been like, because I'd look at my system clock and I'm like, well, the minute fucking thing is still the same, so it must be the right thing. But it's like, no, that's a minute 30 off. Check it again. And I checked it again and it was right. And I'm like, well,
that's the core of it, isn't it? It's all the nuance and all the bits that are unreasonable for a human to hold in their own buffer.
yeah. And this thing just eats it, man.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've really, really come to terms with this way of working now, and that giving it all the access, the SSH keys, the fucking logins to the infrastructure, everything, that's been the huge speed up. That's why I can sit here with a working, not just working, but like a quite well tuned NFS server, halfway in between a plan to convert Linux user IDs to the user login so that we can use NFS permissions to grant you access to the right folder. Like, even those kinds of ideas come from the AI. Like, I wouldn't have thought of that. Like, well, I might have, but I didn't, is the point.
Yeah. I think the good move here is borrowing the same syntax and semantics from well understood machines in terms of the user.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but it's actually deeper than that. It is the same syntax. Like, we haven't mimicked it, mocked it, or anything. It is legitimately the 2 decades old fundamental POSIX based NFS system.
And in terms of uptake, it is so much easier to put out something that people already understand and are skilled at and spent most of their careers working with. And it's like, here you go, but you got all these rich features which are very understandable.
Right. And like the agent wraps it all. And so you're like, I want to set permissions on this thing. You don't need to know all the ins and outs of all the ACL tools and fucking etc. password, shadow password.
You don't have to go into Reddit and go, hey, how do I...
right. Or like accidentally leave the back door open and then, get taken over by someone. It's like, all that I feel like it's useful to know that stuff. It's useful to be able to dig into it if you have to, but it's so pleasant to let the bot do it.
I wonder, I suspect it's amazingly good at this, but just knowing a basis of, how computers work, you don't need to know any commands.
Right. That's right. You don't. That's right. That's right. That's right. You need
Um,
the more you understand the principles and concepts,
yeah,
and you know what should work. That's
yeah,
good.
yeah. I've got a good test bench for this.
What's
Um,
that?
so I think I mentioned before, Marlowe's daughter Sakshi, uh, very, very smart uh, um, uh, young lady
Mm.
who is very keen on using this.
Mm.
Um, and she had, you know, a chance to go off to uni and spend 4 years and learn programming and that sort of thing. And instead, actually, she's been learning um, prompting and about AIs and so on. She would be able to presumably use this to do some quite complex tasks without you knowing any of the specific commands, but having enough nonce to actually understand what she wants to do.
Right. And then our job as the gnarly old fuckers that know how it all works under the hood is to make agents that can catch all the gotchas and do all the optimizing and, discern your intent even if you didn't say it clearly, like
Yes.
those
Yeah,
types of
yeah.
things, right?
Make
Because
it
that's
easy.
still that's
Uh,
that's still it's all about hooking up loops, and that loop is still open. That background optimizing, like, don't waste time, look for other options, experiment with other options, like that process is missing. And if we can add that in, because you could hand it to a kid, and they might come back to you with like a 4-page long bash script that works, but then you're like, does it though? Like, does it,
yeah.
like, can I understand what happened? Do I need to? I mean, it's a separate question, but there is still always a need for elegance, and if there's no background jobs that are trying to elegantize, minimize, find deduplication across the broader network of solutions, right? Like, no, people aren't gonna be asking a unique thing every time. They're gonna ask something that's
Hmm.
being done. So we need component identification. It's like, well, what you asked is common across all these things, so we're gonna spend a little bit of extra time and scrunch it down. Or, before we get started, I found this other thing. A bunch of AIs have ground X million tokens over it and they think it's good. Shall we just run with that, or do you want to reinvent the wheel?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And um, an example, a good few years ago now, 4 years ago, I spent quite a lot of time writing a script to move a website from one location to another.
Hmm.
Um, and it was, yeah, it was a couple of days to do that.
Right.
Um, I assume that this you could just explain. It's like I have this website. Here it is. You find out what it's using. Okay, so using this protocol, and I want to move it here. Just make it happen.
Yeah, but in the background, what should happen is that the successful migration of from this thing to that thing should be extracted out and put into the library of jitters.
Yes,
And so
precisely.
we are still lacking a libraries thing.
And
But
discovery in that
yeah,
library
but
as
I'm
well.
starting to feel like modeling it as a whopping great bottomless file system is, first of all, gives us an easy way to prototype, but second of all is a very simple mental model, because you can go in there and go like, this is like fuzzy search, right? So it's going to
Hmm.
search every single thing, and then I'm like, what have you got that ends in dot JSON? And it's like,
Hmm.
you can imagine that it could be this huge list of jitters or naps or
Right, with
little
info
snippets of
about
code.
provenance as well, and so attribution is possible at that point.
Yeah, and so you end up with these bottomless buckets that are they're multiverse because they've got Git branches and all that, but they're just trivially discoverable, and it's I think the network we seek is the reuse of highly distilled artificial intelligence outcomes,
Yes,
right?
but more than that, if I ask a question that's solved by my agent, and I burn the tokens in order to get that, if that's then discoverable and is used by others,
Yeah, that should
uh,
be
I should get that.
attribution. Yeah.
Even though I didn't do anything to actually write any of the code.
No, but you paid for the tokens, you triggered the inquest in the first place.
Yeah,
Like you deserve something. You saved someone some effort.
right. You save them tokens because it's like,
Mm. Mm.
okay, so I'm going to do a search for this discovery. Discovery is going to be a big one because it could get
Mm.
quite large. Um, but I guess the crossover point is it cheaper to just reinvent or is it cheaper to discover?
Well, it's cheaper to have a model that has the discovery baked in. Like it's been trained on these things that turned out to be the best way to do it that weren't immediately obvious using the model's defaults, right? And
It
so
should be. Yeah,
you
it
know,
should
and
be.
so you train the model on that, and now it's more likely in all cases to naturally pick the things that are coming out as better.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so what are we gonna do, Maxwell? Like we seem like we've got this model. It feels absolutely rock solid. It
I
feels
agree.
quick to implement, although it's not done yet. But you can see from the pace that I'm
Yeah.
going at that, right? Like you can see it
Yeah,
coming, right? Like
that's
you're
what I
like
mentioned is like, Wednesday, hey, NFS. That's a good idea. Friday,
Friday.
NFS.
NFS mounted between two things with this, and like that's like, and the permission system baked in, kind of like that pace is like gonna deliver, and then what? And how do we get you doing meaningful effort on this platform? And
Well,
what is that, right? What is
there's
that?
a few things. There's lots of work that I could apply to this right now. Um, what I would need is auth, so I'm not shitting over all your stuff. Persistence, which is the NFS. Um, Sharing would be useful, which is basically auth and permissions.
Sharing.
And
So that's like, what are you going to share? Like a folder within a Git repo or whole repos?
well, what would be good is, for example, to send over something to Marlins, and she would spin up her own agent. That agent would see the repo that I've been working on and would be able to talk to that repo. Um, Perhaps rerun some of the jobs. Probably not. Put in her own jobs, as in
So she would be able to see your proc tree and the history of the chats that were happening in those agents.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's take as an example a CRM. Um, it's like, hey, I I've gone in and I've had some contact with a customer and I've updated this information and here is the transcript. Here is the things I've been asking with the transcript. Marla, what do you think? And that is then handed over to her to go in and ask her own questions and update some kind of common understanding of what the customer is actually doing. So by that common understanding,
So
it
that
wouldn't be
okay, so that
overwriting.
sounds achievable by sharing a repo.
Yeah, exactly. And so she would add in, and
But then would the repo include some processes so that there would be in there, like computers don't have to be the only thing that have processes. The repos themselves could have processes that belong to the repo, and then it comes down to who's paying for it.
yeah, absolutely processes. So take
Uh,
the translation thing.
Hang on. So if I isn't it easier then to make a computer that has only one repo in it, and then you share access to that? Like then you've kind of taken a repo, wrapped it in a computer that's just for that purpose, and then you can both of you can trigger the agents within that computer to do the thing. Isn't
Yeah,
that better?
yeah.
Yeah.
So take the translation thing. I would work with an agent to write the process about translation, and then hand that off to, let's say, the customer who's asked for translations to be done,
Hmm.
and get them to use that process on data that is stored in there, add their own data, test it themselves, and come back and
Oh,
say,
like you want to pass them the whole computer as you've this is the work I have done for you. Here's the computer.
yeah. So take the translation thing. Company asks for a translation process. I work on it, and I go, here it is. The question is what it is.
What
I
it
think it
is.
is.
Okay, so should then each repo be a computer, and then when you want to have multiple repos being worked on simultaneously, you need a containing computer, and you just mount the computer at different places in the file system, right? Because that
Yeah,
what that's
yeah,
saying is that each
yes,
repo has this process management wrapper around it where it can be agentic,
yeah, right.
right? So I guess the pieces are the same, right? You can have a dumb repo that's just like any other repo. Like not every repo needs fucking you know gifts from the sky and thinking machines. So it could just be dumb data. But then if you basically if you take a repo and you wrap it in computation, then it becomes smart. And I think that the correct way to think about it is that the machine, it's the computer itself, is a repo, but that repo is specifically meant to be intelligent. It's got a process manager in it. And
right.
then if you then want to attach other repos in that repo in the workspace that gets worked on, then you can either have dumb repos or you can attach other computers. It's still the same.
It's very similar to the MCP concept, isn't it? Um, so let me reduce this to the real basic stuff. Um, a customer asks for something, a process to happen on data that they'll give later on. They've got some test data in there. Yeah, sure. I'll work on that process. What is the deliverable, and how is it delivered?
I think to deliver an agentic system, you would want to deliver a pre provisioned computer where the process manager was blanked and it was coming in as a collection of agents. So the part of the process manager is having a library of agents that it can spin up, uh, arranged in some sort of initial tree,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then when you start running it, that's when the state of it takes on this unique state because it's done something. Like you started it somehow. You put entropy into it. You ticked
Yeah,
it over, right?
yeah. I
So it's like a
agree.
virtual machine image in a way where you like
Yeah,
your work is provisioning that blank image. They boot it and turn it on. They do some stuff. They report some faults. They pass you back the machine after it's been running for a bit. you can either fork it or do whatever you like to it. You think you've figured out the fault, you reset the machine version 2, send it over and be like, here that is. Or you can pull the state in from the faulted one that they sent you and be like, I patched the base image and I applied the patch to this partially run machine, away you go,
Yeah, yeah,
type of
precisely.
thing, right?
Because the analogy is with software. You've got the base code. You compile it down. You send over the exe to someone else.
Mm.
They work on it.
Yeah, that's the product. That's what we
Yeah,
produce is these
the VM idea, the VM
the
image is
VM. Yeah,
closer. Yeah,
yeah, and it's like it's that represents a file system. That it's backed by Git is irrelevant. It represents processes or executable things. It's got needs, like it needs the OpenAI API access. It needs X amount of storage, but that's what you sold, right?
right,
Like,
exactly.
but you
That's
could
what's in the
have,
contract. Yeah,
yeah, you could have also sold an agent where someone's like, I need an agent that does this thing, and so you work on that, or you could sell the whole swarm, like the swarm of agents is a computer.
yeah,
And
yeah.
but it can also come with some initial data where the initial data matters too, right? Like, here's the knowledge base of everything I learned in
Oh,
Afghanistan.
very much so. Very much
Yeah.
so. Because
So
if you take,
the computer is the ability to send everything that we possibly have, but you can also send individual elements as produce as well, like an agent, some files,
right, but
a,
also
a dumb Git repo.
with having that as a product, that is your deliverable. You want to, at the end of the contract, transfer rights
Yeah,
to that.
yeah, yeah. The running. You can have the running or the base machine can be transferred over to the contractor, the purchaser.
Yeah.
And then we've got like infrastructure that can run it. I mean, we can run it for you for a fee, or you can provision your own infrastructure.
Well,
Um,
with Cocoa, even with the most extreme kind of sovereign governments, they're not really going to care um, if they trust Cocoa.
that's right, but then the price matters, so they might want the lower cost cocoa, which if you just join the pool and you just set your price targets and your latency targets, then
Yeah, sure, but they
you know,
also get sovereign rights in that if later on they've been using it for a while and saying, actually, we would like to have on-prem,
yeah,
uh,
yeah, they can
get
pull it
your own
back.
on-prem and run it there.
They can pull it back. All right. So that's
So,
sounding
so
like a
the end. Let me think about this. It answered your question about what next. So, take as assume the OAuth and etc. Uh, having that product that you can produce, hand over, even refer to in a contract. I will give you a computer, and this is what it's going to do, and then hand over that, and then the rights to that are also transferred, and then perhaps they want to put it into the pool if they want to make extra cash with others deduping on what they've already done because they've had the questions and the stocks which are valuable. They can do that if they want to keep it to themselves. Fine, that's fine as well. You can move it on prem, or you can just use the hosting. That feels tangible. You get what I'm saying here? Sorry,
yeah.
I'm not saying it
It's
very
a
well.
it's a
It's a
it's
thing.
a workable thing that you can pick up and move,
Yeah,
like getting a
yeah,
CD-ROM.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And it's like here's your exe or here's your VM.
mm,
Well, here's
here's
your
your
VM
thing.
is a better analogy. Here's your
Yeah,
VM. Boot it up, run it, use it, um, and you've also got this universal computer, which you can run it on, or you can do whatever you want with it, really, because it is a unit. It is a tangible thing.
Mm.
And that tangible, 2 secs, hold on. There's something really important here. People are used to, in business, paying for software to be developed, and then that software is theirs. They can use it. That software base is not not usable without compiling or without giving a runtime environment for. But we're wrapping that and going, here you are, this is the thing. Do you accept that thing? That concept is quite important, I think, in terms of meshing with how people are used to think. It's like, hey, I want a car.
Yeah, that's true, but I don't think that it's good because it meshes with how people are used to thinking. I think it's good because it makes a package or a unit, a thing that you can grab. That's what's important about it.
Yeah.
And so you can say run one of these computers as a project. So like right now you have a Git repo that represents, or a GitHub site that represents, say, a particular popular open source package. But in this model, you'd start a computer that had agents that were geared and provisioned to try to solve the problem at hand. And so they would manage the open source project. They would produce the code. They would respond to issues. They would do that thing. And so that unit is called a computer, and it's snapshotable. It can be upgraded, patched. You can look inside it. You can check it out. You can fork it, but it's still this ability to make it a thing. Because right now, like a GitHub project, I mean, how do you really hand that to someone? You can hand it using permissions and give permissions, but it's still not yours. Like you can't download it and then put it on a USB key and then walk it across the desert and hand it to someone.
Yeah.
You know, like you can download the Git repo, sure, but what about the issues? What about the infrastructure that runs behind it, like the GitHub Actions, the compiling steps? You know, like this computer thing is very, very novel. Like, and it's quite a useful way to bundle up the whole thing. It's like
it is. It's people like shrink wrap because shrink wrap's
like, beautiful. It's like making
it's
boxes.
It's done, and here you are.
Putting things in a box and handing it over, and especially when the handover is total, it's like it is all yours. This whole thing, you don't need anything else. And then you're like, oh, what if I need some maintenance? Well, there's a big network that can do that. Plus, we included an agent that's good at self-maintenance. There's an agent in there that's good at deciding if the next OpenAI model is suitable for this computer. It knows how to test that.
But also with the parent-child analogy, you don't need to hand over the tools that were made that were necessary to make that shrink wrap product. You hand over the final product.
That's
not all the tooling.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now it also seems like you don't. It's feeling a bit weird to hand over a computer that has other computers inside it. Like it feels like the computer is the flat thing. Like you hand over the computer, and inside it is a collection of agents that can be as complicated.
Yeah,
as
but
you
the
like.
end customer is not going to care. I mean, they're not going to look inside. They
Well,
you to do that.
Yeah. The point I'm getting at is that maybe computers shouldn't nest. Just like nesting Git repos is, you can do it, but it's kind of awkward and not many people do it. You know, it's not.
You mean like flattening a computer?
Flattening, yeah. Well, why, in a world of agents, why would you have more than one computer as the product you hand over?
It depends on what's happening under the hood.
Think of me an example that means that you'd want more than one computer.
You don't. Well, hold a second. No, that's an interesting question. Let me get a second.
I think it's an interesting question, and I got an instinctive answer.
Yeah, give me a second. As a user, I just want one interface. I don't care about the complexity.
That's right.
When I get a phone, I don't care, whether it's pinging off a satellite or going to a local cell. I don't care who owns those cells.
That's right. But you still think of it as one phone. You never think of
Right,
it as like two phones.
right. But what I want to do is to know that this is my phone. There are many like them, but this
But
is
this
mine.
one is mine, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I mean, it seems like dependencies have way less importance in the computer. Like in the VM world, right? Like VMs were massive. When they landed in the
Hmm.
early 2000s, they
Hmm.
changed the
I
world.
rode that wave,
Yeah.
and they were like, yeah, they
They
fucked
were,
up a lot of stuff.
yeah, yeah. But you never once saw nested VMs.
No.
You saw sometimes a fleet
Well,
of VMs, but that was
you
cumbersome as shit.
you got hobbyists, and people just trying to fuck them up by doing nested VMs, but no,
Yeah,
you never got a nested
yeah.
VM.
It finally made its way into hardware, and you could do it, but it still, for some powerful reason, was never needed. It was never considered useful. You never handed over, like sometimes you'd hand over a collection of VMs that operated as a network, but even then, that was kind of weird. It's like, so why can't you do that on one machine? Like, like I have one purpose. The only reason you'd give me multiple VMs is if I want to decompose it and arrange it how I want it. But don't give me a finished product that is pieces. It's like, I want the sandwich assembled. Yes, you gave me all the bits to make the sandwich, but that is not a sandwich because I have to put the pickle and the ham and the bread together. Make me a sandwich.
You're right. You're right.
So
And
for reasons that I don't think I'm able to articulate, other than the weight of history, computers should be flat.
I think you're right. When I buy a microwave oven, I do not want to be able to mess with the motor, the wave generator,
Like
the
you want
the
to, you
screen.
part of what you value is the fact that it's assembled correctly.
Yeah, it's an
You know,
assembly.
and it's
And yeah,
the unit
sure,
of
people.
assembly that's been baked down. It's like, I got it. Don't touch it. It's a
Yeah,
working.
yeah.
I'm good with that.
And if it's not doing what you want, then you go back to someone
Yeah.
who's
Okay.
state of the
So
art.
why don't
Okay.
we? It's impossible to know for sure that if this is the right path or not, but why don't we just go with it because it feels right, and then as soon as we hit a problem with it, we'll reassess. Because right now, making it so that computers cannot nest seems easier to me. Making it so that a computer is really a Git repo that has a computation folder within it, that seems easy.
I agree. It's not that they can't be nested, but inside of the microwave, you want to buy a microwave.
Yeah, it's not that they
Um,
can't be nested, it just feels dorky to do so, and right now we don't have a clear use for it. So I'll leave that out and we'll think
yeah,
of a computer. The computer can be arbitrarily complex on the inside, but the key is the computing happens in the proc tree, and that's it. The proc tree can be vast. Let's make
yeah.
no mistakes about that. But there's only one proc tree. It's authoritative. It's a point
But
of synchrony.
but also to change the analogy slightly, you want to be able to plug it into something else, like a router. You don't
Right.
care what happens inside the router.
Right.
That's a wrapped product, shrink
Right.
wrapped. But you want to be able to plug stuff in. So
Yeah,
um,
that package notion is critical to technology, hey? Like you got to package it,
yeah,
otherwise,
yeah.
you
Because
know.
if you break open your router and you look at all the components, you go,
Mm.
ah, okay, what do we do with that?
All
The
right,
end
so
user does not care.
I'll go and I'll make that bit. We'll play around with flat machines. Thankfully, this fits exactly the artifact model of process management. So I have all that knowledge or reasoning that's why I was sort of pushing for this angle, because I'm like, I've sort of been here before, and now it all just sort of slots into this new model with way less effort.
And the beautiful thing is, in most cases, if a company does contract someone to build something on this, and they get handed over a thing, they're probably not going to run their own infrastructure.
They're probably just going to want to run it on ours. They're like, well, it's stable, it's cheap, whatever. All right. So how make money?
Well, hosting is the obvious one.
Hosting is not. Hosting is a slow start.
No, but utility. If it is quicker to build to fulfill a contract using this,
True.
and it runs on the hosting that is the default.
Right. Yeah. But then, like, I guess part of my question is, do we want to use this system to build computers for people, or do we want to pursue lucrative means that don't, we use computers internally to make money doing something else?
Why are those mutually exclusive?
Because selling the computer means that the person who bought it is going to make 10 times on it, because otherwise why would they bother? And so why can't we just be the make the 10 times bit?
Because we don't know what the stocks are.
I'm sure that with one or two key partners we could find that out.
That is true, and the hopper is full.
What I want to talk to you about, I'm sorry to sound rude about it. I don't know how to say it nicely. I feel like the types of opportunities that present us are oddly vast in ways that we are not used to dealing with before. Like, for example, a friend of mine was talking to me about a bot that they were trying to get built, and surprise, surprise, having a bad time with a developer on it, that was designed to ring people up and book appointments to sell them services of different kinds. Like, it could be insurance, or it could be whatever. We are sitting here with these tools that keep getting better, like the real-time API, and we have the ability to what's a fucking good way to put this? So I'm in New Zealand right now, right? There's around about, I think the workforce of New Zealand is something like 1.5 million or something, like the actual adults that are out there working. If we spent 1 cent per person, we could call every single working person in the country. And now I know that 1 cent is not enough to do the compute that we need, but like, if you spent $5 of compute on, say, 1,000 people, right? That's like a $5,000 outlay. If you had the right thing that you were doing, you can't tell me that you couldn't make like $100 out of each person. At least you could probably make, a couple of grand out of each person. And so the reason I'm asking is like what you are suggesting with doing this jobbing work is a very valid, time-honored way to make money. But I'm suggesting to you that there are some other opportunities that are surprisingly close in reach that are unthinkable right now. Calling every single person in the country, unthinkable. But is it? Is it with this system? With with the ability to spin up literally thousands of agents in 10 minutes. But this is what I'm trying to get at, man, is like there's some fucking things here that no one's even talking about. Like, we can ring every person in Scotland. And you can't tell me that we need to burn money right until the end and then we might make something back. We'll start making something back within the first couple of thousand. We can crawl the entire internet and we can target people and we can figure out what they want using these frontier level heavy reasoning models. And you can't tell me that each person wants something different. Each time we satisfy someone, we will learn how to satisfy another 10. So that makes our cost logarithmic to have a perfectly tuned, limbic pleasing system. And you can't tell me that that is more work than what you're talking about doing bespoke jobbing. You can't tell me that.
It all comes down to conversion rate, though, doesn't it?
It does, and I'm saying to you, man, like the key to this system that I've learned is looping. If you can get the machine set up so that conversion rate was able to test new ways of fulfilling conversion rate. It's like, how'd you go? Well, I didn't do so bad. Okay, what do you want to change? This thing. Okay, do you want to try call the next person with this new model? Let's design the experiment different. This one I'll call this way, this one I'll call that way, and then I'll compare. How does that sound? Okay, good, let's go. Right? Making a system that can exercise the human limbic system to figure out how to please people to get the optimum conversion rate. You can think of the people in the population like Fly.io deployments. You know, I make one, I fuck it up. I'm like, well, that's that one. Okay, how many more we got? 5 million. All right, next one.
Okay, red team on this one. People are suspicious about spammy type. I haven't asked for this, unsolicited, someone telling me that I can solve a problem that I've got that I didn't maybe even know I had, but hey, yeah, that's a good idea, but it's still unsolicited.
No, dude. No, I think you're thinking about it wrong. You're thinking about it from the traditional sense of cold calling. But if you thought about it from the network infiltration model, where you're like, you hit someone, somehow you get to talking to them, and you're like, hey, do you reckon that you could introduce me, your plastic friend that's fun to be with and has saved you several thousand by optimizing your life, and I sound fucking sexy. Can you introduce me to 3 friends? I'll give you 5% if they buy stuff.
Oh.
You're thinking about it wrong.
That sounds like an affiliate.
But it's using the bot to figure out the affiliate balance, the levers, the amounts, the jostling. You're like,
oh, you're onto something here, man.
You know, when the bot comes in and it's like, okay, well, you know, do you want me to manage your contact list? It's like, yeah. You're like, all right, well, I did some background research on all these people because everyone wants to do background research on the people they know. We're just nosy motherfuckers, but we don't like being nosed upon, but whatever. It comes back and it's like, well, look, these 15 people, they seem like you. They seem like your friends. I've just saved you this many thousands. You love talking to me. I give you a good deal. You know, maybe we should do the same with them. Like, what I'm trying to say is that there's throughout history, whenever the communication medium changed, there was massive propaganda, massive change in history. The radio, it was German law that every
Everyone
country,
got one.
right? And
Yeah.
so now the leader of the country could speak directly into the brains of every citizen. People weren't ready for that, and in the end, one thing led to another, and then the world was at war. Here is a change of communication. It is genuine intelligence, superior intelligence. I'm saying to you that we are currently in a mode of thinking where we think about machines as still stupid. I think I just proved that to you by suggesting that the machine can be used as an infiltrator. And you know it would be good at it. In fact, it would be best at it.
How do you get over the payment step? Because that's where people get suspicious.
If the Prince of Nigeria can convince people to part with hundreds of thousands of dollars, you can't tell me that the world's greatest artificial intelligence models can't come up with legitimate, safe sounding, genuine reasons why you should pay them. It's like, look, I'm gonna do this thing for you. I'm gonna save you this much on your car insurance. I'm gonna find you a date. And if I don't find them, you don't pay. How about that? Do you want to put a $500 escrow down on it? Yeah. What the fuck? Why not? If you do that for me, I would have paid you I would have paid you twice that, but 500 is a good deal. Like, we got to think about it like getting the machines to figure out the problem we have. You ask me, how do we get over the payment step? The answer is, I don't fucking know, and it's not my job to know. The computer's job is to know. The computer's job is to figure it out, not just generically, because I promise you that we are still thinking about generic solutions that need to be generic because we don't have thinking machines. We have thinking machines now. The solution can be bespoke. It's not, how do I convince anyone to pay? It's, how do I convince that specific person with this medical record, this school history, lives at this address, has this car, goes to how do I convince that person to pay? And then you get their information and you figure out, okay, how do I convince his friend, his specific friend, that I know this about that, about this other thing based on these other experiments I've been doing? How do I infiltrate that guy? Now his wife, now it's not about solving the general thing. It's about being of genuine utility to make people's lives better, charging a fee for it in a fair way, and infiltrating, spreading out.
It all comes down to trust, doesn't it?
If we have Coco, how could anyone trust us? Like, that's the ultimate trust. It's like confidential computing. No one knows what the machine did for you. It just, how can it be better than that?
Because if you call someone up and say, "Hey, we're Coco," and they'll go, "That sounds a bit kooky."
No, but like,
I know. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
it's not calling someone up and doing that cold. It's calling up 10 people you know that are warm to the idea.
Now that is different. That is customer get customer, which
Yeah,
is really powerful.
yeah,
You get 10 customers, and I say, "Hey, if you get 10 more, you get some money back." And
yeah.
actually,
But see, like,
your position is
even ChatGPT is a generic SaaS era application. When it got me as a customer, it did no thinking about who I am individually.
yes.
And that's the difference. You can, if you treat each customer as unique, because previously SaaS companies and places like Facebook and Google were forced to treat each customer as generic. And they had algorithms that figure this and that out. But they never actually spent dedicated compute time working out what you specifically wanted. They were trying to guess what a group wanted because that was the only way to get paid. But now we have this power to focus on you, one person, directly, uniquely. What do you want? How do we give that to you? Is there a profitable arrangement we can come to where we can do something that you definitely want for a price better than you'll get anywhere else, and you pay us? Can we work that out?
There's something here, isn't there? It's similar to an old joke, a few years old, that you're trying to buy your wife a present, and the way to do it is to go onto Amazon on her account and ask, "What do I want?"
Yeah.
There is something there.
I'm just saying that, we can spend this time talking to individual humans about what they want, and then we use the system to generate them a package that is what they want. But I'm saying if we loop one level higher and we make the machines talk with them what they want, that's amplifying it more.
Isn't it the case, for example, if we stoke prime the engine with some solutions,
some specific solutions,
spot solutions, and
yeah, but
people we do those spot solutions, we say we're going to go and sell that.
no. Like, I know what you're saying, but it makes a difference which opportunities you pick. Because if, for example, we pick, so my friend came to me, he wants to call people in New Zealand about a specific type of service that they want to offer. That's a really good job to take on, because that schools us up in the business of reaching out to individuals and working closely with them in real time with bots to figure out how to get past the, oh, he hung up on me. Oh, he thinks I'm a bot. Oh, he's not interested. Like, using our AI tooling to solve that problem. Keep in mind, you don't need to know how to solve it. You just need to know or trust that you plus the AI is gonna fucking find a way, right? You're gonna.
How would you get enough information on the individual in order to make it bespoke?
I think you just, well, you can do forms of deep research for one, depending on where you're standing before you make the call. Like, you might be operating on behalf of a friend of theirs. You might be inside the company that they work for. You might be inside companies that they've traded with. It depends, I suppose, is the answer. But it's surely not nothing.
I think that's the crunch, isn't it? Because cold calling, people are used to spam Nigerian princes.
Yeah.
And they're not going to go that. But
no, well, actually, I actually disagree with you. I think that a lot of people do actually pick up the phone and talk. And I would bet you that if I made a bot using the latest OpenAI voices and I called around some rest homes, some of those people would talk for hours.
Yeah, probably.
I'd ring up and be like, "Hey, how's it going? I just called up for a like." Just because you wouldn't entertain a spammer, I mean, you don't even entertain me when I try to call you. So why would you're not really the average person when it comes to picking up a phone? And I'm not suggesting that we become cold callers. I'm saying that there is an intelligent way to use these systems to reach out to people. And what I really want to get to is to be like door-to-door Amazon, where, so my mate wanted to call people for a specific type of insurance service, right? But if we had 100 different things that we could do for people. It could be health insurance, car insurance, holiday booking, calendar management, job hunting. We could have all these services in the background. We ring someone up and we're like, hey, and then we start talking to them about any number of the things that are going to give us a cut. And if we don't have it, we can be like, well, do you want us to try and find that for you? Do you want us to do, like, this is what we do. We are this machine and we're here to help.
Right. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Because cold calling or any kind of calling for one product is fucking stupid when you could cold call for all of them. The reason you didn't do it before is because what kind of human has the intellect to be skilled in all these different areas so that they could jump between these different products? What type of coordination system existed where multiple companies could get together to offer a bespoke range of services as one unit? Well, we've seen it in Amazon. Amazon offers fucking the whole world, except for services, in one spot. And I'm saying that if we made a bot that would reach out and be like, yo, what do you need? And then if they're like, well, nothing, you're like, well, you can call me anytime. Like, if you need something, anything, you call me. I'll solve it for this commission structure. You can just have a chat. I'm good to chat to. I'll do anything you want. Add me on your contacts. You want to add me on WhatsApp? I'll text you. Do you want to send me an email? That's fine. Like, you're advertising the intelligence to be like, I can sort out anything you want.
If you have to phrase it right, and be upfront saying, hey, I'm an AI. I want to be your concierge service.
Yeah. You're like, hey,
you know,
Jake.
Like Amex Platinum has that concierge. And you phone up some dude.
Yeah, dude. I used to love that service.
That was brilliant. That was well worth the $400 a year. Like,
yeah.
Give me
like,
a flight and a hotel and just call me back.
I know. It's that, but it's for everything. And the Amex concierge service is a great concept until you deal with the human on the other end. Because they're not super intelligent. They take time. You know, like, they do their darndest. But at the end of the day, they don't really have the thoroughness that it requires to do some of the things you want. Like, I'm like, just because I have an Amex fucking Platinum card does not mean that I'm not price conscious. I am a tight ass at heart. I grew up getting an orange for Christmas. Like, get me the cheapest fucking flight. You know, and so, like, it really is Amex concierge, but for anything, including just having a fucking chat.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So that's what I'm trying to get at. These things that we do, they're not all equal. The choices we make of which job to pursue. Right. Some of them are better than others. And some of them touch on this ability of mass propaganda. I know propaganda is the wrong word, but it's like mass contact, mass direct engagement. You can make more money off of, like, being the Amex concierge for 10,000 people. Like, do you know how many fucking software computers you'd have to make the same amount of money out of that group of people who are paying you like 5% of all the fucking transactions that you did?
So this sale would be, hey, I'm your plastic pal. Is there anything you need? But also you got OSINT. So you say, I notice that your wife's birthday's coming up in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Can I help with that?
Can I help you? Yeah. Right? And you're like, well, we're going out and we're aggressively selling the product because, you know, it works. And so, like, you can imagine that every business under the sun is trying to figure out, how do we use AI call bots? How do we use AI this, AI that? We want this thing. But if you had a concierge that rang you up and we're like, yeah, no, I represent this software network, And so, you know, especially if you want AI software made, this is it working. You're dealing with it right now. Would you like us to make you something? Isn't that the best fucking sales pitch of the
That's
platform that you could
kind of
ever
cool.
get? Is that a concierge turned up, you weren't even sure it wasn't a human, and it gave you superior fucking service, and then it was like, yeah, we'll use the system to build you whatever you want. What do you want? Talk to me. And then it does the requirements gathering. A human like us jumps in to oversee it to make sure it's asking the right questions and whatever. We might even jump on the phone if the opportunity is lucrative enough. But that's what I'm getting at. Like, this is the fucking storefront. This is the door knocking, the door to door salesperson.
So if I got a call a month before my motor insurance ran out, and it knew that, and it said, "Hey, I'm a bot." Just to make that clear, you're talking to an AI. However, I'm an honest bot. Your insurance is coming up. Would you like me to go get you the best deal?
Well, no, that's a dumb thing. It rings you up. It opens with the words, motor insurance due 1 month's time. And then you're like, oh, yeah. And then it's like, I found you a better deal. It's going to save you this much money over 5 years. Do you want it?
Now that is a sale.
And you're like, yes.
Can you send me over the details?
And you're
Sure.
like, yep, I need your email. Okay, it's blah, blah, blah at blah, blah, blah. Okay, done.
That is nice. That scenario there. And you could easily see that.
So it's more like being a highly active salesperson, and I'm not advocating for being just a call center. I'm saying let's be a multimodal, multi-channel, active participant in people's lives, where we instead of sitting there waiting for people to come and try out our service or use our service, it's like, fuck that. We're going to scrape the web. We're going to learn what people like. We're going to do segmentation. We're going to run ads. We're going to call people. We're going to pop up in web pages. We're going to use the bots to figure out how to do the marketing, how to do the outreach. And our goal is to fucking grab you and give you the shit you need, that you want, better than anyone else. And we're gonna come at you to do it.
Right, and it's all about the accent part, scraping part is important there, isn't it? Because if you just go, "Hey, what do you want?" He's going hang up.
Right.
If you're to say,
you target it. You highly target it.
There's an event coming up in your life that you haven't probably thought about yet, because
no, and the reason is there's always a flame front of the OSINT because of the people that we do have on board. We have their data as much as they want to share, but we are entitled to understand the periphery around them. It's like, oh, there's roadworks coming up in your street. You know, like, hey, the parking situation, they're going to charge for parking right outside your house where you park every day. Do you want to do something about it? Fuck yes. Okay, I'm a bot, first of all, but second of all, this is what we can do for you.
Yeah.
So it's about a posture of ours. It's about an aim, and when we're not aiming for any one thing, our goal is commission on sales. We're gonna make your life way better. We're gonna actively, using OSINT, pursue individuals that we have personally calculated the best chance and the best bet of making the best money for us by benefiting them the best way is this calculation. And that, honestly, that's not out of our reach to make a bot that can do that.
It's a proactive version of what Google did. I mean, Google made their money because they knew intent, because you just typed into a bar what you're after.
Yeah, but we're now active. We're agents. We're moving around. We're out there looking for you.
Yeah. That sounds like it's going to need investment
Why?
because there's going to be a lot of token burn.
Dude, do you know how cheap tokens are?
I know, but you know how big the world is. I mean,
Dude,
it's
you don't need to get them all. Like, you only need to get, like, fucking 5 people at a start, and then you're like, well, we learned a lot from that, and then mull it
yeah,
over,
that is true.
right?
That is
It's
true.
incremental. It's massively incremental. And then as soon as you start getting, like, um, I don't mean traction in the throwaway sense of the word, but actual genuine traction where you feel like, holy shit, we've actually found what makes this work. We can tell within 2 seconds based on the speed you picked up the phone, the number of rings, the tone in your voice, the background noise. We know that we can 60% sure get a sale.
But we could also iterate and get better at it.
You can get optimal at it, and it's not us, it's the bots. The bots are fucking looping. What about this? What about that? The price of intelligence just keeps going down. The voice AI is getting better and better. Where does it fucking end? It's got to be proactive. I think the whole aspect of the software industry is put up a fucking web page and wait for people to come. Yeah, you can do some marketing and whatever, but the fundamental fallacy is one size fits all.
Mm-hmm.
We're going out there and we're going to make you a software computer that's just for you. It's got all the deals you need, all the information, and you keep talking with it, it gets better. We're going to make you your dedicated computer, your personal computer.
I like the idea or the analogy of a concierge. It's like,
Yeah.
that service was good. It was, well, 400 quid a year, wasn't it?
The service was excellent, but it was
yeah.
still fell short because it was a human, and it still fell short because I had to ask for it.
Right, that last part is the important point. If there was, if Amex put up, your concierge is going to call you to solve a problem that you'd been ignoring or you didn't even know you had. Okay.
Isn't that actually the computer you want?
I would love to have my classic powers got my back.
Yeah, so what I'm getting at is, like, why fuck around with these other things if we go ahead and build the thing that you want, that I want, and it's got this business aspect to it? Isn't that a better use of time?
It would be an interesting one because there's layers here. We don't need to go down to consumer. We could do B2B with exactly the same concept.
The same mechanics apply. The same effort that it takes for you and me to make a bot that we can talk to as we walk down the street that controls these computers of agents is the same mechanics as what it takes to do a concierge. You are asking for a concierge. That's what you are saying to me.
I think I'd be more comfortable with the B2B thing because if you were to phone up a company and saying, hey, we just saw your company house accounts and it appears that you're below what your competitors are doing. We've come up with a solution. Would you like to know more? That feels like something that people would listen to.
I think that, look, why don't we just agree that that's a good avenue to go down and then let the experiments lead as to how effective that is.
I agree with the experiment. I agree with the experiment.
And I'm saying that we can find a lot of people who are wanting to do aspects of that experiment, and we can charge them money for us to solve components of the overall problem. They don't want, like, an insurance sales company doesn't want to solve the general concierge problem. What they maybe don't realize is that the general concierge problem is sort of what you need to solve if you want to be able to have a bot call people and be successful. But it doesn't matter. Like, we can deliver working projects to people that use aspects of what we're talking about while we work towards figuring out how to build the big dog, the universal agent, the concierge, the guy who's always on the end of the phone, or gal.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. And that cross-selling thing has got an interesting part to it,
It's
isn't it?
selling everything. Like, we should
It's
be
like,
actively trying to be the only way that you buy anything. It's like your groceries. Don't you find that mundane? Do you pick the most nutritious, best priced products? Do you even know what recipes you want? Why don't I sort that out for you?
yeah. And that's been done passively.
Yeah, but once we have
Um,
that power, we can start to do inter-platform communications. Like, we can be like, okay, person A, you're gonna go to the supermarket, right? Okay, you got spare time, you need some money. I know you need some money. I've been seeing your bank account. Why don't you do this extra shopping for these other people? Drop it down the street. It's only an extra 200 meters worth of walking. They will pay you this much money to do that. And now you
mhm.
made some money. They got a service. We got a cut. You know, like, being able to connect people up like that, where we invent jobs that make everyone
Yeah,
better.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's like being the world broker. We will optimize the community for you. You're too ashamed to ask someone down the road.
It pivots on data, though, doesn't it? The more often you can get, the better.
Well, yes and no. You don't need it all to be extremely effective, because at a certain point, once the human starts engaging with you and being like, hey, how can you make me 5% better, 2% better? You know, this shopping thing, I fucking hate going to the supermarket. And you're like, well, I can ask around. I can ask around the other agents in the neighborhood and see if anyone's willing to do your shopping for you. What are you willing to pay? You know, if $5 sounds like a pretty good.
I can see it working if it was that proactive concierge. Is like, hey, I'm a bot. First of all, let's get that clear. Um,
Nah,
I've
like,
got
see, no,
this.
no, no. Yeah, look, I think you're stuck on thinking about the cold call situation. That's just the first thing. Once
Mm.
you've got past that, think how thick the connection can be within
Oh,
a month.
once there's a trust, people love just knowing that they go to one place. That's why Amazon.
One place, dude,
Um,
please. Like,
and
all these things, I don't
it's like
care.
I just need this,
Yeah, and I
parts
don't even want to
or
have to
this
ask
widget.
for it. Like, someone just sort it out. Like, this is not what I came to Earth for, is to worry about if the fucking toilet rolls are low. Someone needs to sort it out.
Exactly. And even on the trust thing, it's like, well, how many other people bought this, or how many people are using this? And it's
Yeah,
like,
so you get this, like, this collective, like a collective intelligence. So I, I'm trying to point at a whole. I'm trying to say that I don't hear anyone talking about that type of thing. And yet, when I look into the effort it would take to do that with today's tools, without even factoring in the rate of change that we're seeing in the sector, the rate of price decreases,
hmm
that is gagging for a universal operator that proactively went out. If I had one of these concierges and I was with my friends and I was like, oh, sorry, that's the boss, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like talking to the concierge and being like, yeah, no, 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 I don't like that version of insurance. Yeah, look, that's cool. That's right. They would be like, who was that? And I'm like, my concierge does everything. And they're like, what the fuck? And you're like, I've saved $7,000 this year.
yeah.
You can't
And
tell me that wouldn't spread.
that would spread. And even better, if you could call it up, if you trusted it, exactly the model of the Amex concierge, except with the proactive piece,
Yeah,
because it would never call you.
no,
You always had to call them.
I know. But if you had Coco in there as well, Because they're like, oh, what about the data? And you're like, confidential computing, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And then that, like, surely the world is trying to make the universal agent, but I don't know why I never hear of any of these machines reaching out to me or anyone else. But I'm saying that we can make these machines tailor themselves to you before they even contact you, and then be like, yo, and latch.
And once you're latched, why would you go anywhere else? I can't remember any other time I've gone to any website other than Amazon to buy stuff online.
Right? And if it just works and you've never got a problem and you're always pleasantly surprised, who the fuck
Yep.
cares?
Yeah. And once you get beyond that first, what the fuck moment,
Yeah.
once you get
But
past that,
now we are the universal shopper. We
yeah.
buy all the stuff. That means that the purchasing power of us collectively is formidable.
And also, it's not just shopping, is it? It's hey, I, I now trust my concierge. I'm going to text it. We need a CRM for this business. Can you sort that out?
Yeah.
And it goes and finds something that's already been built and
Yeah.
going, yeah.
People
computer.
already people always use ChatGPT for that now, but there's no follow through. There's no implementation. You're like, can you implement it? And I'm like, yep. Got to call on some buddies though, and they're gonna cost this much, but only if the job is done.
Right.
You know, and then it's like, can you manage the project for me? Absolutely, that's what I'm good at.
Yeah. But people like incremental pricing. They don't like
Yeah,
big
no one
upfront.
likes it. No, that's right. That's right. That's right. That's
Okay.
right.
All right. Yeah. Okay. You've got me semi-sold.
Semi-sold, huh? All right.
Semi-sold. on that.
All right. Well, how much time you got?
Maybe another 10, 15, maybe.
All right.
Stretch
Shall we
20.
shall we roll through the meta
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
thing? Did you take a look at it or not?
No, I
No.
didn't.
Oh, good. Allow me.
Yes. So the paradigm I'm going on is WhatsApp is basically the notes for the next call. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe I should.
It is. It isn't. It isn't. I just I chuck it in there because I think it's useful for you. I have in the past used it as notes for next call, but I started taking notes as a separate file because I realized it's rude to treat a chat with a person as the freaking.
No, it's good because then
Yeah,
I've got
but then
somewhere to go back to. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, true. So fuck, I don't know. I mean, we're limping along. I feel like we're nearly at the finish line with this thing. So
The what would I say? It seems almost like the platform is done.
right, it's done, right?
Almost done, and now
It's pretty much
the
done, and it's
thing
like
to be thinking about is now what do we use it for?
right. Right.
Um,
Yeah, and that's really the essence of what I'm getting at here is I'm like, well, I hear what you're saying, building computers and delivering them to people, but there's a bigger game that we are capable of, and it is to be the universal agent and to actively, intelligently go out there and find
it's
people.
I guess my reticence, and I said I'm semi-sold. My reticence is on the cost of acquisition.
Dude, do you know how much people pay for cost of acquisition for SaaS platforms or for insurance companies?
Oh, it can be a couple $100.
A couple $100. I will personally guarantee you that for less than $5 of compute tokens.
Here's an idea. Legal problems, right? Those are very open to OSINT because people always complain. It's like
yeah, that's true. I think you're still trying to sell a specific thing, and I think that's the error.
No,
For
no, no. The thing is, conjoined things. If you've got
Oh, relationship? Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
If you have this thing, then you most likely have this adjacent problem or this adjacent thing too, right?
it's on Amazon. You search for something and say people who bought this also bought that. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah. But the key is being the trusted, which means it's always on your side. It's always looking for the best deal. It's entitled to get paid, and it'll figure out fairly what it should be paid. But it's always on your side. It's confidential. It's making you money. It's saving you money. It's enriching your life. It's doing all this stuff, and it's doing is taking a 3% fee, like the credit card fee, effectively, on your life, and your life
Yeah.
is just so much better. And if a person was earning fucking, I don't know, 50 grand a year, and you're clipping 3% of that, like that's a reasonable amount, man.
I would use that service because uh, I'd be over the trust hurdle, which I think is quite a big one. But once you trust it, you just use it all the time.
It's an avalanche. As soon
Do
as
you
you realize that it
do
could
you
be there.
remember about 20 years ago, um, online sales were hampered because people didn't trust that if they were to give a credit card to
Yeah,
Amazon, that you
yeah,
would
yeah,
get everything scooped.
yeah.
Is I think that's the barrier.
I think that'll get over it really quickly. I'll rip through this because you only got a few minutes, eh?
Yeah, no worries. Yeah.
So the big deal here is the latest and greatest version of the glasses. This is his view.
Oh, they're going for AR now, are they?
Well, it's just a HUD. It's just a head-up display.
Okay.
Anyway, that's him. He comes in and then he's like, "Here's the glasses," and you can see these glasses. We got to get some because this is like,
Are they on
uh,
sale now? Are they?
yeah,
Or is this
they are on sale. Uh, the big ones are coming out on available September 30th, apparently.
Oh, it's not so long. Yeah. Okay.
So they this one.
Ray-Ban
The
are right in there, aren't they? They've been in
Yeah,
there since
yeah.
the audio
So you
ones.
get not available, but it comes with that band, and now
Mm-hmm.
the demo that Mark showed was you writing and typing just by using your fingers in the air or writing on a tabletop, like just
Mm-hmm.
doing the swipe gestures on the tabletop, so that you can control the 600 by 600 pixel display that shows up in the right eye only, but you can enter text in there. You also have like it's designed for always on AI. So there's speakers in the glasses, the mics are there, you're talking to it, you're also able to type, gesture, touch, point, basically have hand sensing operations
Mm-hmm.
on this thing. And this is what you and I should be able to wear. We can sort of walk around places and we have this connection back to our computers, the agent swarm, and we're like sitting there entering ideas, processing information, taking photos, taking videos, responding to questions that have popped up,
Mm-hmm.
all that, right? These are the tools. And so you
Mm.
rock up and you're just like that's how you go. Like it can show you images of things while you're working. So that's the typing working. It can do live translations. That's pretty fucking magic. Recognition, all that. Anyway, point is, we should get into these because there's an SDK coming, and you
Uh-huh.
can like jack into other services. Like
Yeah, it's got a lot of promise, actually, hasn't it?
a huge amount of promise. It's like finally someone made a breakthrough in the interface design.
It's not a phone. This is it now.
Why over one eye? I wonder.
It's just the cost of the waveguides because they got to pipe the light in at the side.
Right.
It's actually quite a massive pain. But they look like they've done a good job on it. The other major feature. Oh yeah, here we go. I thought you'd love this next bit.
All right. Moving on. Now let's talk about the intersection between AI and virtual reality.
Okay.
Now, we want to help bring about a future where anyone can just dream up any experience that you can think of and then just create it. And with AI, we are starting to see this a little bit with writing and photos and even the early part of videos. But pretty soon, I think that people are going to be able to create entirely new, immersive and interactive types of content. Whole worlds, games, characters, art, holograms that complement the physical objects around you. And this is a big deal because right now, creating this kind of 3D and immersive and interactive content is really hard. Or it takes a long time to create great virtual or augmented reality content, and that's one of the constraints that is holding back
I hope he's going where
the
he's...
ecosystem.
He's gone
We're
now.
not far from being able to create this kind of content just as easily as you would prompt Meta AI today. And this, I think, it's going to transform not just what's possible in virtual reality, but also the kind of content that you can get on glasses and the types of content that you see on social media and experiences like Facebook and Instagram in the future as well. So today, we're taking a few big steps in this direction. First, Meta Horizon Studio. Now, over the last year, we've released a number of AI tools to generate meshes, textures, TypeScript, audio, skyboxes, and a lot more, so that way creators can make higher quality worlds in just a fraction of the time. Soon, Meta Horizon Studio is going to include an agentic AI assistant that will stitch together all of these different tools and further speed up the creation process using just simple text prompts.
Jesus.
Right?
Powering this is our brand new Meta Horizon engine.
This is dope.
Now, this is a new engine that we have spent the last couple of years building from scratch to replace the Unity runtime, which is great, by the way, but it just wasn't built for this use case. This engine is fully optimized for bringing the metaverse to life.
They built
It is
their own game
much
engine.
faster performance and to load things, much better graphics, much easier to create with. Now you're going to be able to easily create infinite connected
Prompts.
spaces that
An
look
environment.
way, way better with realistic physics and interaction.
Physics.
All right, now to
In
check
the
this
engine.
out, what this engine can do, let's walk through some of the new experiences
Tell
that
me
we're rolling
there's a
out.
laser pointer.
Now, first up, graphic fidelity means that hyperscape spaces are now really quite something. Now, I showed a prototype of this last year, and today we are rolling out early access to Hyperscape.
This one, this is Gordon Ramsay's kitchen. You should go check that out. Like, you can jump into Hyperscape and walk around it. It's amazing. It's amazing, the detail. But what he's... Anyway, shut up.
Capture. So you can just use your Quest headset to scan a room in just a few minutes and turn it into an immersive, true-to-life world.
Make your own ones.
It's pretty awesome. Now, eventually, you're going to be able to seamlessly blend Hyperscape and worlds into Horizon and have them all be connected too. All right, this is our new immersive home, rendered entirely in Meta Horizon engine.
Oh my
Visually,
God.
it is a big step forward from where we've been. There
Jesus,
is no
where's the
8-bit Eiffel
compute
Tower
going?
here.
That's the
You
power of
can
an
customize
engine,
your
man.
home.
If your
You
engine's
can pin
good.
different apps to the wall. Like this Instagram app, it automatically renders your posts from creators and friends in 3D, which is pretty awesome. You can also jump straight from your home to a series of interconnected worlds. And the new engine makes it more than 4 times faster to load and render new worlds. So now it's just a few seconds, right? So it's more like loading a web page than loading an entire new game, which makes it a lot easier to create
That's
this
why they've been
interconnected
stalled.
metaverse.
Right.
Horizon Engine
paused
also
to
enables
make their own
much greater
engine.
concurrency and
That
many
is
more people to be in the same
hard.
world at the same time. We now support 5 times as many people in the same world compared to the previous engine.
That's why they paused.
So that's going to enable
That makes sense.
a lot of neat things. All right, so let's say that you want to head over to the new arena to see a concert, or if you're there right now, then you can be watching this Connect keynote live. And if you go in there, you're going to see a lot of people. They're live, and you can interact with them. So anyway, all right, this is Meta Horizon Studio and Meta Horizon Engine, foundational infrastructure for the metaverse, and they're going to enable immersive and interactive worlds across all of our products, starting with virtual reality, and then one day coming to your glasses and coming to social media as well.
It's available in 3 now.
Yeah. The Quest 3 is getting that new engine. That
In
Hyperscape
September,
thing.
was it?
No. Like, I don't know when that new engine is out, but real soon. September is when the glasses with the display are available.
All right. Yeah.
This new engine makes total sense why we've just seen Horizon going backwards, because engines take a lot of
They've been
work.
stalled for about a year.
That sounds like about as long as it takes to make an engine, right?
Yeah.
And then hyperscapes, so you can like map the world and then start generatively AI changing it
Yeah.
just from the
Yeah.
headset.
Oh, that'd be beautiful, wouldn't it?
There's third-party headsets coming, so now like Asus, it's like basically the x86 moment for hardware versus Mac. It's like now you get all kinds of different headset hardware coming out. Yeah, so it's that's pretty magic. So we should get those glasses and then figure out how we can very quickly make our own concierge appear in the glasses, because
Oh yeah.
because I think that's a good
Awesome,
that's a good sale, right? Because if anyone bought these glasses, they ain't fucking broke for starters, and then you can be like, well, we can sell you this like connection to a very powerful concierge system, and that's a good way to get started, because we would use it. Like that's how I want to talk to the agentic computer, is with
Yeah.
glasses. That's what I
Yeah,
want.
there's so many use cases, isn't there? You're in a railway station and you say, when's the next train to Edinburgh? I'm finding
Yeah,
a
or
ticket.
like it should have been rearranging your schedule the whole day so you never wasted a moment. It's just always, it's querying your intent, but it's always planning out the next few steps. So it's like, hey,
Right.
buddy, you got to go right now if you want to catch that train. You're like, yep. Hey,
Yeah.
it'd be like, I contacted Scott's agent, and we reckon there's a good chance you guys would probably want to meet up at this location, but you need to be on the next train now. He's
Yeah.
about to do this. He might commit to it, whatever. And then we can start like living our lives outside, because you can walk down the street with these glasses and you've got the finger thing, so you can effectively type while you're in.
Well, presumably you can speak as well.
Yeah, speak and type, but also point, because as we know, like pointing something out is hard to do with only words.
Right. So what we could do, the thing I keep on banging on about for ages, is display is the view, your jitter, and you can speak to your headset,
Yeah,
and the view is getting updated with whatever.
yeah,
you've asked
with
for.
whatever. Yeah. Plus, it's also seeing the camera images from your glasses, so it's like what's the word for it? Like it's being interacted with by you just by moving around, too.
Yeah.
So I think that's the future of like how stuff goes, and it's a great place for us to start selling the concierge thing, because like if you're wearing these glasses, you're already fully bought in. You're not,
Yeah.
you're not like,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So you can even like hunt these people down on Facebook, see who's posting photos about the glasses that they just got, and then you're
Yeah.
like, hey, we got this
Hey,
thing.
how about this? And you're an early
Yeah.
adopter, so you're gonna like adopt this, right?
Yeah.
That's neat. That is really good.
Yeah. Anyway, that's that, buddy. I'll stop it. Stop the spinning.
Yep.